how people can be dicks on Zoom and Twitch and so on.
Yeah, and right now apparently you're on a Twitter break. So how long has it been since you've been off of Twitter?
I don't know, week and a half, I think, or 1 week.
So to do that, do you just like have the self restraint to not open Twitter? Or do you actually,
self-restraint.
So you don't delete the app or anything?
No. It was just like I've had it up to here, and I was like, fuck it. I like visiting this website does me harm for now, and I'm not gonna do it for a while. So I just have Twizzle for opening my DMs from time to time. There's nothing going on there. Yeah. A couple of people say that they miss me, so I appreciate that you said that. A couple of people. A couple of people were like, yo, dude, are you fine? You're on a break. What's wrong with you? Like, is everything okay? Other than that, like, I don't feel that I'm missing out on much. Hey, Muhammad.
Yeah, someone asked me like the funniest people to follow, and I tagged you, and then I saw that you were like on Twitter break.
Yeah. They're like, this person is not funny.
So you missed the recent why is JS mad controversy this week.
No fucking idea. Please tell me what happened there.
Okay, yeah, this was more like I would say not why is JS mad, but yeah, no, actually they did feature it on that Twitter account. But basically what happened was some guy from Google, like, it's someone that everyone knows that talks a lot of shit about React. He basically found this COVID-19 data website where someone had created this data visualization or whatever. I didn't look at the website, but it was something to do with COVID.
All right.
And he looked at the bundle size, and he basically said, okay, React community, we can do better than this, and like tore the website apart for being like too big of a bundle. And it was like this big shit show because like he got destroyed in the comments, and it was like a big joke for like the last few days. Everyone is like, just talking about it and making fun of it. It was really great.
Shit. But it's not the first time it happens. By the way, hi Fritas. If you're in the chat, just say hi, because we're gonna start coding soon. Until then, we're just gonna chat. I don't think this is the first time that this happens, this sort of trashing and bashing Twitter. Like anytime there's a big bundle, everyone is, see, React is bad, React is evil, and like half of the web is built with React at this point. So I'm not surprised. I'm just sad that I'm missing on the drama.
Yeah, it was pretty funny, some of the takes. But other than that, it's been kind of quiet. I think nothing really too crazy is going on.
Dude, it's still like, if I didn't have this thing about This Week in Web Dev on Saturday, I would feel that I'm missing out a lot, because you're just, you don't open like all the relevant news. I'm just realizing that all the news that I was consuming about movies, TV, web dev, whatever, were coming from Twitter. So now it feels like you're completely in the dark. You see something on Google or on Steam about some game, and your brain is like, but do other people like this? Are they talking about it on Twitter? Like, you immediately want that confirmation that other people are into this thing, It's
right.
Because your brain has been tuned that way to listen to Twitter constantly. Like, if everyone's talking about Tiger King, at some point you're gonna be like, hey, wanna watch Tiger King? A bunch of people are talking about it. But when you're without Twitter, you have to make these decisions on your own, and it's a bit weird. It's weird.
Yeah. No, you're not missing anything though. I need to try to take a Twitter break as well one day.
Yeah. I'm thinking of making it like a regular thing, maybe skipping it like on weekends. So from Friday to Monday, don't open it at all and just enjoy. But I don't know, I have to find a strategy, because being on it 24/7 is just so bad for mental health. It's crazy. Like, you see all these people being productive 24/7 in different time zones. You want to relax, play a game, and then you see someone posting about some open source shit, and you're like, fuck, people are so productive, I should do the same thing. It's annoying.
Oh, and I guess one other thing you might have missed. So Ryan Florence and Michael Jackson yesterday announced a new React library or framework, something like Next.js that they're building. So it's basically going to be like their version of Next.
Oh, what it looks like. Why?
Yeah, I'm actually like, I see the two. There was two big discussions happening in the comments. Mostly though, they were getting actually a lot of negative responses. People were basically saying stuff like, why another framework? Like, why is it like different than Next? Is it an improvement? But then there was, people like also like me, I'm like, what harm if they have some interesting ideas just to show like what they're about to do? You don't have to fucking use it. But them being very influential in the community, they're going to get some adoption just because everyone knows who they are and they have credibility and they've created a million things that have been really popular.
Yep.
So like I would be against it more, like, or I would be more, I wouldn't say against it. I would be more like questioning it if it was from someone that didn't have a track record of delivering, decent stuff. But I would like to see, is this just, another thing that doesn't offer any additional features that aren't already out there, or is it something that is an improvement over something else? So we'll see.
I would be careful about it. I talked about, like, I trust Ryan Florence and Michael Jackson, whatever they were doing. I'm seeing it on my streams that I haven't been using React Router since React Router 2. So I didn't trust them with all of their decisions. But most people do. They're like, whatever they did with React Router 3 is fine. And then I would go around conferences and people would be like, I'm doing the craziest shit with my router just to get a redirect when React Router 3 was out. So I wouldn't say like you have to trust thought leaders 24/7. And another thing I talked about in my last episode of This Week in Web Dev is all of these content creators, including you and me, like you're a content creator, right? You work for AWS. If you make something like your own framework or whatever, like immediately my brain will go, somehow he will tie this to AWS because he wants to promote or sell or whatever. But not a lot of people are that careful, So anytime I see something new from some of these thought leaders, whatever they're doing, I'm like, how is this going to be tied to their business, making money or whatever? So I'm looking at this thing and I'm like, that's cool. They're going to make shit ton of money out of this some way. I don't know how. But that's my immediate thought, because there was not the need for this from what I can see. It's cool to experiment, but this is, and that's fine. As long as people don't move from Next.js to Remix, whatever it's called, today, it's fun to experiment, but yeah. Someone already said in the chat, HaxyFeed said looks promising. HaxyFeed, if you're still here, I would love to know, why do you think it's promising? Because developers love everything that's shiny. Oh my god, it has a shiny logo. Holy shit. Let's migrate everything. So why do you think? Hey Cohen, how's it going?
The thing that I like about Next is that just take out all of the features and all of the stuff and the innovation that they've brought to the table over the last few years. They have like the smartest people in the entire industry actually working on it full time. Yeah, that's pretty fucking cool. And they have the entire community contributing to it, and the person and the head of the entire thing, Guillermo, is just on a whole nother level smart. I could trust
absolutely. Yeah. And I think the direction they're taking Next in, I posted a poll about Gatsby and Next, and I think it has at more than 4,000 votes, and it was like 70% of people would pick Next in the future, 30% would pick Gatsby. Like, that's not 100%, like, I'm not saying that the entire world, but like, amongst my followers with my survey, turns out that 70% people will go to Next, because with the latest updates and shit they have, it's insane. So
yeah,
I don't know. Emre is asking, why did you put your headphone in the opposite direction? Did I? I don't know. Where's that fucking letter? I cannot see it here. Oh, maybe I did. Thank you for that, Emre. Why can't we rally behind one project like with Rails? Drew, I cannot agree more. Like, I thought we were all rooting for Next, and now you're gonna see the community split between Next and Remix. It's always like this. I think there's a lot to that. Yeah, Rails, they have millions of, or not millions, but they have a huge number of people that are contributing and improving one thing, and therefore, not only is everyone kind of like all working on the same project, but all of the documentation and all of the community is understanding that single technology. Therefore, it's easier to find answers and get help, and bugs are solved faster because there's more people on top of it. Exactly. Yeah.
So, but also there's probably I don't know. I wouldn't say there's less innovation, but if someone's kind of bought into a certain way of doing things, out of the box, someone could come up with something completely new, and it would probably not get a lot of people even trying it out because it wasn't using Rails or something. I don't know.
Yeah, the Drew says you cannot criticize everything. Everyone takes it personally, and then sick their followers on you. That's true. Don't criticize anything that's made by a human being cannot be criticized, whether that's a framework, whatever it is. Every time the answer is, how could you say that? Real humans worked on that. As if real humans didn't work on everything. And a lot of things, you see this and you're like, oh, you piece of shit. Like, it's a phone, right? Humans worked on it, but yeah, people take things way too personal. Like, say something bad about Sisi, I'm gonna fuck you up. I'm joking. Obed says, on the other hand, Rails has been on a decline for a long time. Lots of people dislike it because it can move fast enough or the right direction. Yeah. Imagine fake humans working on frameworks. All right, we can leave that. We can leave this discussion. We can leave this discussion for this week in web dev on Saturday. It's 4:30, so we would like to start with the stream. Nader has around 1.5 hours to teach me AWS, Amplify, and so on. So now that more people are here, let's do the official intro. Thank you for joining me on my stream, Nader. Nader works on in AWS on AWS. Like, he's an AWS expert. Do a short intro about yourself, and we can start.
Yeah, well, first and foremost, I'm a front end and mobile developer, full stack, these days. But before that, I've been really focused on React Native and React, and I was doing consulting for a few years. I actually taught companies like Amazon and Microsoft how to build React Native apps, their teams, before I joined. And now I'm kind of getting more into this like full stack / serverless space. So yeah, now I'm kind of becoming more of an expert in AWS, but I kind of always can still consider myself a front end developer.
Cool. Thank you. So welcome. Thank you for joining in my stream. If you missed it, we already did a stream with Nader. It was a disaster because of my internet connection. Hopefully things should be fine now. From what I can see, we have 0 drop frames. So hopefully we're going to be able to do everything smoothly from now on. To be honest, I have no idea where did we stop. So I'm just going to quickly walk people through to what we have here. So on the right side, we have a Create React app. And we did a bunch of things with Amplify, which all of that ended up in our Amplify folder. And in my source folder, we have...
I think you need to switch over your view. I can't see anything right now.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks for that. So we have a Create React app. Everything ended up in this Amplify folder within Create React app. What else did we configure? In package.json, we added a bunch of Amplify, AWS Amplify and AWS Amplify React. Those are the only 2 things that we added to our package.json. And in the source, we have index.js, which renders the app, and within the app, we wrapped our main app with Authenticator, which is hired a component coming from AWS Amplify React. We also initialize the config with amplify.configure. We pass AWS config to it. So if I clear my local storage here and I refresh the page, I'll be taken out of, I won't be logged in anymore. And now I would have to oh, fuck me, I forgot this. Let me see if I remember it. Super secret password. Let me see. Sign in. There you go. So just by wrapping your app with this thing, you get sign up functionality, you get login functionality, you get authentication. Like, you don't even have to think about all of these things just because the app is wrapped with Authenticator. One question I have for Nader is, when I was signing up, it was asking me for my telephone number and shit. Is this dialog configurable easily? Yeah,
it's configurable, and we actually just in the last week or two released a new version of the with Authenticator that allows the configuration to be done a little easier. I don't know. I think we're on the older version here, but yeah, you basically in the with Authenticator, the second argument is an object with some configurations.
Oh, cool.
And there you could kind of leave out. You can specify styling, theming. You could leave out certain components, stuff like that. So
cool.
Yeah.
Somebody said in the chat that they I just opened my stream on the side and everything is perfectly readable. So Fritas, I don't know what you mean by move your screen. We can see source from the 6th line. Maybe
I'm watching the stream. I can see pretty decent. I mean, your head's not blocking anything.
Yeah. Okay. All right, so what we wanted to build was actually an app where the user can sign up. Now I can see everything too. All right. When the user can sign up and they can add a bunch of bookmarks, but I don't think that we added the bookmarks model to the app.
Right. So I think let's look at your Amplify folder and just see what is in the backend folder within Amplify, just to get an idea of the features, or you can run Amplify status from the command line.
All right, let's run that. Amplify status from here. Thank you, Cohen. I moved the chat. Scanning for plugins.
Yeah, the first time you run this, okay, so it looks like you have an API. Okay, cool. So let's go into the backend, Amplify /backend/API folder and take a look at that.
Amplify/backend/API. Just to explain one more time to people, we wanted to make like the simplest tab where the user can sign up, they can add a list of bookmarks, they can browse the list of bookmarks, and when they click a bookmark, it should disappear in real time from all of their devices. So if you decide you're gonna visit certain pages once per day or once per week, whatever, once you click it, it disappears. Like the super simplest app, just so we can see how Amplify works. So what is going on in this file in API?
So let's take a look at that schema.graphql.
Schema.graphql, okay.
Okay, it looks like we have some stuff going on.
Yeah. Oh, actually, we added the type bookmark.
Yeah. You don't really need that at auth. I don't know why we put that on there. Maybe we were just talking about some of the different
I think we put it just so we can say which user actually created the bookmark. I think it was that.
Oh, right. Okay. That works. And yeah, leave it how it is then. It should be good to go.
Yeah. And then do I have any control to specify how are these two connected, or is this thing owner field owner? And that's it.
Right.
So yeah, then when I query my backend, I'm going to have like bookmarks, and on each bookmark, I'm going to have an owner, right?
Yeah, you'll have an ID, a name, a URL, and an owner. And the owner field will be populated by the username of the user signed in automatically.
Cool. All right. So I think that's deployed already, but it's not, or maybe not, because I didn't see that in my status when I ran Amplify status. Didn't see that. Okay.
One thing, I think, did we say we are going to be using data store, or are we just going to be using the regular GraphQL API?
I don't know. Can data store be added later, or does your app has to be like data store first?
So no, you can add it later, but I mean, basically where we're at now, if we're going to be deploying, like there's two basically types of GraphQL APIs you can deploy or have kind of in your app. One is just the regular GraphQL as a service, which is AppSync, and then the other is data store. But I think like when you're ready to decide like which one that you want to use, they're different in the sense that when you're working with the regular GraphQL backend, you're sending GraphQL requests. But when you're working with data store, you're actually working with a local storage repository. So you're basically not working with GraphQL at all, like in the actual client app, but the requests are sent and the subscriptions are set using GraphQL under the hood. So let's use data store because I think it's a pretty cool thing that we can try out here.
I would love to see just the initial docs for data store, because I honestly haven't seen anything. So I would love to see.
We just deployed some new docs here. So
cool. I would just love, like, what are the pros and cons between using GraphQL and using so you do something like this. That's interesting. So you
So the main differences are data store is just another abstraction on top of GraphQL. So you end up with a little less control over how everything is working under the hood. And therefore, like we have to make sure everything is working perfectly for everything to work, because if something breaks, if there's some error or something like that, it's basically kind of out of your control. And if you're using just the API category, you're just literally just writing GraphQL queries, subscriptions, mutations. You have your resolvers. You can kind of update everything. So we think that like they're both good use cases. It just depends on kind of the app that you're building. Data store is fairly new. And
is data store real time by default, or is it not real time by default?
Oh yeah, and that's another big difference. By default, actually they're both real time. Okay, so data store by default is actually real time. So let's say, for instance, you create an item. You don't actually have to set a subscription on that item or anything like that. Whenever someone else, if you're subscribed to that, by default you will be. If someone else creates another item, it will be populated locally for you, and it'll be then queryable.
Well, that's like a lot of advantages over just using vanilla GraphQL, but like in my mind is racing, like there might be too many downsides of going this route, because this reminds me a little bit like Firebase. If I'm not, correct me if I'm wrong.
Right. It's like very similar to Firebase.
The first problem that I had, like back in the day when I was using Firebase, and like I don't remember, we were doing an app for a client, and when I wanted to fetch like categories and posts, I was like, what do I fetch first? How do I connect them and so on? And that goes away with GraphQL. You're like, give me a list of all the categories for a post title, whatever. How would you do that with data store, the relationships and stuff? Does it allow you to do that?
Yeah, you can actually still model relationships.
Uh-huh. But it's not in GraphQL queries, it's just with your own syntax here, right?
Right. It's kind of our own syntax. And another big difference, I guess, with data store is that it's also offline first by default, and it works on web, React Native, native iOS, and native Android. So you don't actually have to save anything to like your local storage or anything like that. All of that's done for you by default.
That's cool.
So therefore, you go offline. You can actually create updates. You can query like the store locally when you're offline, and when you come back online, it'll just sync together. And any updates that you've sent will be sent, in a queue in the order in which they were created.
Yeah.
And if someone else actually changed something as well, we'll do the conflict detection
you resolve that
and resolution for you. And it's done actually using, it's something like a CRDT or like maybe, I would say it's something like a CRDT, but it's actually our own implementation that we kind of call auto merge, which is a combination of, and this is really stupid like wording. I'm not trying to sound smart, but what it is a monotonic counter. And a monotonic counter is basically a version, like versioning, incremental versioning or decremental versioning. So like say for instance that you create a bookmark and you have someone else sharing your bookmark, and you create the bookmark and then someone else updates the bookmark at the same time you update it, right? That's a conflict. But let's say you change the name and they change the URL. Using the auto merge strategy, it'll actually save both because you don't want to overwrite each other. You actually need both of those pieces of content. But sometimes you might actually want the whole thing to be overwritten. So we actually have 3 different conflict resolution strategies.
Can the user specify that per request? Can I be my request is the most important, or how?
Okay, so you can specify the conflict resolution strategy per GraphQL type, but if you need to specify it per request, then there's also the option to have your own auto merge strategy that's written in Lambda, which basically means you have to write all of your logic yourself if you want that. So it's not going to work by default.
Okay.
But that's an interesting idea, like being able to pass an argument or something like that. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, saying like, but still, if I pass an argument and say prioritize this and override whatever else was before this, basically you would say that. Or no matter what happened before this, I would like to prioritize this particular request. I don't know when you would use that. I just want to nitpick.
Right.
Yeah. But
this is getting pretty advanced at this point, at that point.
Yeah. This sounds cool. I mean, it seems like it solves a lot of problems that GraphQL has out of the box. So I would love if we use this actually. Let's use this instead of
So what we need to do now basically is like using your GraphQL schema, we can then generate the models that we're going to be using. So basically using the command line, you can run a command called amplify model gen, and it's basically
model gen like this.
Actually, if you're using the CLI, you can run amplify code gen models.
Okay, amplify code gen models. Something's gonna happen now. Oh no, compiled successfully. Do you have a watcher that actually watches the schema, or?
I don't believe we do. I think you have to kind of run this every time you change your schema.
Okay, a watcher might be a good idea here. And now, what did this generate? Like, where did it go?
It should be a models folder in your source directory.
Oh, okay.
Because these are going to be basically like your the things that you use.
Yep.
So you don't really have to change that. It's just kind of done for you. And
I just wanted to look. What does it have inside of it? Okay. Okay, so now I can import. If I want to get a list of bookmarks, let me just make a component or something.
So what's interesting is you can actually use this right now without deploying the backend, and it'll work offline without any AWS backend. You can use this with any backend.
That's cool.
So let's go ahead and start playing around with it.
Yeah, I'm gonna, in my app, I'm just gonna render these bookmarks like this. Components, bookmarks, and let's see, list of bookmarks like this. Okay, so here I would like to use something from models, and I can say bookmark, and then I should probably use an effect, right, in order to fetch them or something, or you just use them. Does it?
Yeah, you can use them. Well, no, you need to actually fetch them. Yeah.
Okay, manipulating data, new data store, save, query, whatever. Yeah, if I wanna, yeah, can I use this piece of code in order to fetch them?
For some reason, I can't see that clearly, but let me look on the other Twitch.
I think it's
yes,
better
you
if,
can use that.
yeah, you can just look in the Zoom because I'm sharing my screen with you, and that should be faster than looking at Twitch.
Right. Well, for some reason, the Zoom screen is kind of blurry.
It
compared
is?
to Twitch. Yeah, but Twitch is clear as hell. But no, that code is fine.
Okay, cool. Alrighty, so we can just go with then here, just not to sweat it. Dot then, and we're gonna have the result, which is gonna be the bookmarks. I'm gonna try to print it here. I don't think we have created any. So where is data store coming from? Actually, data store is coming from
So
where?
you need to import data store. Let's see here where in the docs that is.
Getting started.
Yeah, we should probably put that in the import in the docs. Yeah, that's stupid that we don't have that.
Yep, there's no docs. Where is this coming from? Wait, if I type data store, will WebStorm be smart enough? Nope. I have no idea where that's initialized.
Yeah, so you can basically, let me paste into our chat. This is a big thing we need to fix.
Okay.
I mean, just updating our docs, yeah.
All right.
So I sent it in the Zoom. You can import data store from @AWS Amplify/data store.
Okay, from AWS Amplify/data store. Is it like this? Is it like this? I don't know. I know that I should get
that looks right.
posts from models, but
you need to import bookmark, right?
Yeah, bookmark. Sorry,
models.
Bookmark. It's coming from models, and now here we have C, which is, I guess, this is gonna be the post.
Yeah.
And
or bookmark.
Oh, what the fuck happened? Come on, man. I don't know if people can still see you. Like, something's going on with my screen. They can't see you, but you're like a giant behind things. My Zoom window. Okay. Now can you see Nader fine? Is everything fine now?
Yes.
All right. Cool.
Oh, you're asking the audience.
Yeah. Well, you can also see if you see them fine. All good. Okay, cool. So I have fetch bookmarks, data store query bookmark. Can I pass empty here just to get all of them? I don't need this second thing, the function, right?
Right. Yeah, you're gonna have all of the bookmarks. You can just say bookmarks is equal to data store.query bookmark. And I believe that's an async call, so you might want to. No, you already have a wait. Never mind. Okay.
Yeah, I have a wait. The thing is, I don't think that this is correct. AWS-amplify/data store. Are you sure?
I believe that's right. Yeah. Let me double check.
Okay.
Why are you getting some error, like a syntax error?
No, like I cannot click it. So like WebStorm can find AWS Amplify, it cannot find data store, which is weird.
Oh, did we install Amplify data store in the last episode?
Probably not. I don't think so.
So let's go ahead and install that then if we haven't.
Yeah, like Lucas, the thing is, like, if you don't get autocomplete here, you're like, nope, something is wrong. Like, this is not a correct import. Do I just install it like this? Yarn add AWS Amplify /data store? Yeah. Okay. Installing. Somebody .Drew asked, would it be bookmark.query? No, apparently it's datastore.query, and then you pass the model. Okay, so it seems yeah, now we have data store. Now it should be fine. We have fetch bookmarks. You refresh the page, and now it says attempted import Amplify is not exported from AWS Amplify core. Maybe I need to restart my app. Let me just restart my app, just for any case, and we'll see. By the way, Nader, I cannot see anything that you're sending in the chat.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So, what is this now? This doesn't go away. Attempted import error. Amplify is not exported.
Let's go to, I guess, index.js. See what's going on there.
Index.js. Index.js here or in app. I have this in app.
Wherever you have Amplify. Okay,
Yeah.
so import Amplify from database Amplify. Cannot that AWS Amplify /core. That's interesting. The only thing that I can think of that might be some issue is that we need to actually install at AWS Amplify /core.
/core, yeah.
As well.
Somebody says to try the try asterisk as amplify, but where? Oh, they mean here in the app asterisk as amplify. You mean like this? Nope.
Try installing at AWS -amplify /core.
Okay.
Because I'm not sure in the last episode exactly what we did, how we installed everything. We probably fucked something up at this point. You can't import data store from Amplify.
Well, people are trying a lot of shit in the chat, and I should probably listen to you instead of the people in the chat. So I'm gonna install this /core, and let's see what happens. Starting development server. Okay, it seems like it's fine now. Let's refresh. There you go. Super secret password. You cannot know this. Cannot read property client made a data of undefined. Did I fuck it up? No, I did not fuck it up. This should be fine. Cannot read property client made a data of undefined. Let me try it again. Pretty sure this was the email that I used a second ago. Sign in.
No, it doesn't sound like an error that should be coming from like an incorrect password.
It says Amplify has not been configured correctly. This error is typically caused by one of the following scenarios. Make sure that you're passing the AWS config object to a amplify.configure. Okay, wait, did I leave? Nope, we have Amplify configure. There might be multiple conflicting versions of AWS Amplify. This sounds like it is.
That sounds like it. I would say let's go to your package.json real quick. I have no idea like what we did last time and what we installed and what version.
We have way too many AWS Amplify packages here.
So we have Amplify Core, Amplify Data Store, Amplify React.
And then we have these two, which seems like this one would conflict with this one, if you ask me.
I mean, let's remove Amplify. Let's remove all of the Amplify libraries and just start over today with the newest stuff.
Okay,
because we did this three weeks ago. I think we've released new versions of everything, and
I'm gonna remove node modules. This is gonna go well. Okay, remove the node modules. What should I install?
Okay, so just install AWS Amplify React.
Like this?
AWS-Amplify-React.
Oh, okay. No. Okay, AWS Amplify React. Got it.
And also after that, so what have you installed so far? I can't really see that well because
it's just installing all the node modules and this first thing, AWS-Amplify-React. But
okay, cool. So we also need to install AWS-Amplify and Amplify Data Store.
AWS Amplify.
Yeah, and then at AWS-Amplify/Data
Store. Okay. Installing. Somebody said to add that to the README for the import because it would drive them nuts as well. Yeah, I think like...
Yeah, I'm actually submitting a pull request literally right when we're done with this. And it'll be in there in a few hours.
All right, that's cool.
That's a big miss.
Yeah.
We can fix.
Okay, failed to compile. Now I have AWS-amplify, AWS-amplify. Oh fuck, what did I fuck up now? Okay, 1, 2, 3 packages. So that's one less package than before. But let me see if everything is fine now in app. We're using AWS amplify and amplify React. Cool. And in bookmarks. Okay, so now basically we're back here. And if it complains about the core now, let's see. Then we're back to the previous problem. Okay, I think now it works. Previously this didn't compile. So maybe I had an old version or something. Okay, bookmarks is empty.
I think we had a conflicting conflicting version somewhere, yeah.
Cool. So now bookmarks is empty. Should we make a create bookmark form or something to create a bookmark? Let's just try that.
Let's do it, yeah.
Create bookmark form.js. And we're gonna have an input with the title, placeholder title and URL. And okay, let's just keep that for now. I'm gonna add React Hanger just so we can use input from React Hanger, and we can say title equals use input and URL equals use input create bookmark. It's gonna be a function. We're gonna do import bookmark from -- models, and we're gonna do the data store thing. So this is gonna be the bookmark equals title.value and URL.value. Okay, let's just try this and add the component somewhere. Create a bookmark on click. It should create bookmark. Let me move this. This is gonna look super ugly. Okay, we're not using any styling libraries or whatever. We just want to stick to vanilla and vanilla functionality. So create bookmark form goes here. Let's see if we have that. Oh my god, that button looks ugly. Oh, okay, I'm just gonna style the button, okay? So I'm gonna say color. It's gonna be white for the button. Everything else will remain the same. I don't care. So we're gonna go title, URL, create a bookmark. We're gonna get the object. Okay, so now how do we create things with data store?
Cool.
Okay, Michal has a question. What's the reasoning behind the odd naming scheme? Some packages following 8 at AWS amplify and some of them are just...
Yeah, that's a good point. So actually, if you look at the newest documentation, we actually moved to everything to the newer at AWS amplify. But since I don't know all of the newest APIs off the top of my head, we're just kind of going with the combination of like some of the older packages and the newer packages, because they're still going to work together with the newest like releases of those. But yeah, you're right. We've actually moved everything to that at naming convention, and we did that because we actually did a big overhaul of our bundle size, issues that we had. We were already kind of much smaller than Firebase, which is kind of a similar project. But the newest updates we made have actually decreased the bundle sizes by almost 4x. So like we've seen a massive change, but to do that, we actually had to kind of, rethink the way that we had everything installed and all of that. So yeah, we've completely kind of moved over to that at naming convention.
So eventually all of them are going to be at something. I mean, they are, we're just not using them. Okay.
Exactly, yeah.
So in create bookmark form, I'm using the data store .save functionality. Wait, what is it called?
Yeah, data store .save, and then you pass in the model. So it'd be new bookmark, and that's about it.
Let me see, what did we add in the schema? ID, name, and URL. So I should refactor this to be name, and I should just bind them to the input. So this is going to be name, event bind, and this is going to be URL, event bind. So this is going to be name, and we're going to say name equals name.value, and URL is going to be URL.value. We don't have status. I can get rid of this. And then do I get the results back after posting this?
Right, you'll get the results back, and if you'd like to, you can even then call fetch bookmarks again to update the UI, because you're just
doesn't it do that automatically because everything is real time, or?
it updates the model. It updates the local like repository in real time, but it's not gonna. It doesn't know anything about React at this point. So this isn't like a React specific thing. We actually still need to refresh, re-render the DOM.
Okay, let's try it first, and then we'll see what is the problem, and then we're gonna solve the problem. What about the user ID, the owner? Is that automatically gonna be like
the owner is
added?
Gonna be automatically populated.
Holy shit, that's awesome.
On the back end.
What about ID? ID should be automatically
ID will also
generated?
be, yeah.
Okay, that's fancy. I like that. Okay, create bookmark. We have that. Let's try this. Name, I don't know, Android URL reddit.com/r Android. Create a bookmark. It's here. So if I refresh my page, we should actually see it in the list of bookmarks, right? Yep, there it is. Bookmarks, ID, name, and URL. So now in my list of bookmarks, we can actually map them here. So we can say, oh, but I would have to store them. Oh, shit. Okay. So we would have to do bookmarks and set bookmarks and use state, right?
Right.
Isn't there a better way of doing this? Are you planning to have your own hooks in the future, or like data store React client or whatever?
Yeah, I mean, React is our number one used client, but I mean, honestly, this is just boilerplate that you end up writing and you have full control over it. But a lot of people ask us for a hooks library, so that's probably something that's going to come out, at some point. But now you just have to kind of write that logic yourself.
Okay, let's do it. So I'm gonna say b.url and b.name, and key is gonna be b.id. Do I have control here about what do I fetch from a bookmark? Because it seems like right now I'm fetching everything about a bookmark, right?
Yeah, you are fetching.
There's my
fetching
bookmark.
Everything. But the thing is, it's already like local. You know what I mean? So you don't have to use it if you don't want to, but it's there anyway. So it's not like hindering anything, in my opinion.
Wait, I just lost track for a second. What were we talking about?
You just now rendered the bookmarks in the UI. I think we were talking about now, like how could we actually fetch or re-render every time we save?
Yeah.
And the answer is basically just to re-render the page, like fetch bookmarks.
Because this is, wait, let me just add another one. I'm gonna call it nader.com. When I create it, does this go somewhere magically in this local storage? This is my local storage. Does it go somewhere?
It's actually not in local storage. So if you go to
you're using something else.
Yeah, we're using IndexedDB.
Okay, so it's in application IndexedDB, and I can find my data store somewhere in here. Okay, so right now this new one that I created, is it here or is it not here?
It is.
Oh, there it is, nader.com. So the only thing that I need is just to re-render. So it would be pretty fucking sweet if you had your own hooks for data store that are gonna re-render instead of me just doing the manual re-render, because it seems like this is gonna quickly turn into a big pain in the ass. So when we started using back in the day when I was still freelancing, when we started our first GraphQL app, the biggest time waste was resetting. Anytime we had a mutation, we would have to specify to the client which queries we want to refetch. So eventually I bitched about it enough that somebody told me about this client.resetStore. And a lot of people hate this. So like, just to explain to people, like you would use Apollo client, you would do some Apollo mutation, like make bookmark mutation, whatever, you wait for it, and then after the mutation you would reset the store. So for me, this was the most magical way of having everything, instantly refreshed across the app, because before we were using this, we had like the mutation here and then refetch queries. This was a massive pain in the ass because we would forget something all the time and then something would remain unfetched. So it would be nice to have like a magical solution that doesn't require you to do anything after creating a bookmark.
Right. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. That's something we'll look at. But I have to say, like, one thing that a lot of people are doing with this is that they're using this as kind of they're working with data that's at the global level. So for instance, they're actually using data store in their MobX or their Redux stores or those places. And then they're propagating data like throughout their app. But therefore they do need like full control. But I think since we're working in React, like, yeah, so many people are actually going to probably want something like that, where you can just throw in a component, it re-renders anytime some data changes, and you don't have to actually deal with it. Yeah, so that's good feedback.
What I can think of right now, like the easiest way to do this right now in React would be just to make a use data store hook, and then basically move a bunch of this logic inside, like here. We can make like move this into use, like all of these three things, just move them into use data store, and then in it we can have an effect that's watching the index DB. Anytime anything changes in the index DB, just re-render that component. And then I mean, you're not, are you wasting any, like, this is not going to be a network request, right? If I fetch it again.
No, yeah, because we're not online at all right now. Like, we don't have our backend deployed at this point. Yeah.
But assuming if we had our backend deployed,
okay,
would it
so
be
what's
always
happening
a
at this
network
point?
request, or how will it know that
there's
it
no
has
network
all the
request.
data? Okay.
When we query, we're actually not querying ever against the backend at this point.
Okay.
The backend is actually gonna sync up anytime an update changes on the backend. It's actually gonna automatically sync with our store. And what you have to do at this point is have a subscriber and then re-render. But you're right, again, that would be an extra step. If we had a hook that did that for you, would be fucking really dope.
Yeah. Basically, the hook that combines the state, the fetch, and the use effect into one thing called use data store, and basically you do the same thing. You do get something. But I'm more interested in, like, first of all, thank you, HTTP Junkie and Batman Codes. Thank you for joining the stream. Appreciate your words. And also thanks to everyone who followed while we were talking. I have a more GraphQL types of questions. Like, what I'm concerned here is we're getting all the bookmarks with everything. So I'm concerned in the syntax, like, how do I specify what do I get from this bookmark?
So that's the thing. I mean, again, like, this is a little different than like our typical GraphQL, app, in the sense that because we have to have, we want to have access to everything locally, right? Okay, so I think the question is, like, what if you only want to get a certain subset of that data set? Well, there's actually we have this language where you can use predicates. So so if you go to the docs under manipulating data, you'll actually see that you can query based on, like, less than, greater than, equal to, contains, not contains. And then you can chain these predicates together to get the subset of data. But the point is, though, you need all that data locally to be able to run those queries.
I get that. I get that I can query, but can I query the things that come from a post? Like, all of these predicates are for querying the number of posts that are going to arrive, basically the array of posts. But how about querying certain fields from that post? Is that possible? Are you planning to add it? Is it not possible? Is it not needed?
I mean, it's not needed, I think, is the answer, because all of that data is local anyway. So, like, you just would discard it, because you would map over the post and just use the post data that you would need. Because if you really are working, so I guess you're basically saying, like, if you have a view that only needed just the bookmark name, and you didn't want to store everything else in local storage or in IndexedDB, is that kind of what you're saying?
I don't know. It seems like I'm like, you moved away from GraphQL, and I'm trying to get back to GraphQL, but that's not the point of the library. And
it's a different
It's a different
model.
way of thinking. And to be honest, I'm not sure if I liked it, because I had these problems with Firebase. So I went here to the doc for querying relations, and it says, in order to get the posts, a post with comments, I would have to first fetch the post and then fetch the comments for that post. What if I want to fetch an array of posts and then fetch the comments for those posts? Like, it's way too many GraphQL questions that I have.
Got you. So you can just, at that point, if you want to query in that way, you can still just run a regular GraphQL query, but you are losing the offline stuff at that point. So
would you mix, in an app that
all of this stuff is local. Like, all of this stuff is local, so there's no performance hit. But you're right, like, the actual query itself would feel nicer if you could just say, I want this relationship, instead of actually querying all of that and kind of putting it together.
I mean, yeah, to like, I think I would have to write an actual, like, a real life app with it before I can judge whether it's good or bad. It just seems like, on one hand, is like getting superpowers, getting everything that GraphQL was missing. like the offline and the sync and everything else, the conflict resolution. And on the other hand, it feels like you're losing stuff. But yeah, trade-offs. Like there's not a ideal solution for everything.
Yeah, and if you have ideas like that you're giving me now, it's really great because we're still kind of early on in this library. We have a lot of work that we're going to be continually doing. We have teams that are actually building additional features.
Yeah.
And if stuff like that is something that can improve, if that's what people want, we can actually add it to the API.
Yeah.
Right. It's the data is there. Like we could figure something out, I'm sure.
All right. Cool. So we made this work. How would you make the component re-render? I mean, the most basic solution that I can think of is just move the logic from bookmarks, put it into app, and then just pass it down to bookmarks. And then just this one will have a refresh like this. And this one will have a list of bookmarks. Let's just try that.
Yeah, that's one way to do it since you have the components split up. Yeah,
I can just say bookmarks equals bookmarks like this. Fetch the bookmarks. That seems like it's gonna work, except I haven't configured this. Righty, yeah, that works. Okay, test.com, create a bookmark. Yeah, now I have to call the refresh after this is done. So refresh. If refresh exists, we're gonna call refresh, which is coming from here. Yeah, this is not like an ideal solution, but yeah, it's gonna work. I like that it's instant. Yeah, this seems like very Firebase-ish. So Lucas is asking, how about trying some GraphQL with Amplify? Yeah.
Well,
okay.
Like we kind of opted into this API,
yeah.
but we can still use GraphQL after we deploy because right now we actually haven't deployed anything. We're actually working with local data. After we deploy the API, we can do that. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's go with the deployment. Let's actually do one more thing because I had the idea, right? When you're tapping on a bookmark, it should basically. Did we add that? We didn't. We just had ID, name, and URL. So the idea behind the app is whenever you click on a bookmark, it should disappear for X number of days. So the user should specify days as an integer here. Do I modify this in my schema? What do I have to run now in order to do this?
Right. So you're going to run amplify. Let me see the command again. I think it's amplify code gen models. But let me double check. Yeah, it's amplify code gen models. This will just update the models.
But if okay, we can go with the update of the model. So let's say that I want days, and let's say that I want last visited. So last visited should be what? Do you have like
string?
A scalar for date time, or do we just use a string?
We have some date time scalars. It depends on kind of which kind of date time you want to work with. But
I just want to store the last moment that the user clicked on this bookmark, basically.
I think for this stream, so we don't fuck anything up, I would just put a string. But we
okay.
have a bunch of different scalars.
Cool.
I just don't know the syntax and the different properties exactly off the top of my head for each one.
Okay, cool. So we can just generate the models again with amplify code gen models. Alrighty, that should happen. Successfully generated models. Generated models can be found. Okay. And now we can just also pass days here, which is gonna be 1 by default. So now I don't fetch the sync error, subscription failed, connection error, a validation error of type field undefined, field days in type bookmarks is undefined, and create bookmarks days. It seems like now we have it in the models, but we don't have it somewhere else in the schema. So it seems like we're missing one more command. Like what else should I run? Amplify, publish,
I'm wondering
or
if there's an
deploy,
issue with the index.
Because if you remember, we actually deployed some things. Oh, that might be a thing also. Let me see if running this in CZ, like clearing the cache. I think this one should also destroy the IndexedDB, but let me just see if that's the case. Inspect element, application. Okay, but now we're gonna get a new one anyway, so let me just try to destroy it manually. Application, data store. There's only refresh and there's delete. I'm gonna delete it.
Yeah, delete is fine.
Okay, let's refresh it. Bookmark is assigned a value but never used. Yeah, it's It's the same thing now.
We're
Bookmarks
still
is
getting that
undefined.
here.
Yeah, because we added these things. And we're getting a validation error. I still feel like we published some things. Don't forget that we actually ran amplify, deploy, or publish, or whatever. So I think we might run that command again. I'm not sure.
Okay. Yeah, let's run amplify push again and see if that's the problem. Maybe you might be right actually. Yeah.
Is it called amplify push?
Yeah, amplify push. Yeah.
Meanwhile, Lucas is asking question for Nader. Can you share any big/medium project using amplify? It feels like there's a lot of missing pieces there.
I think, like we're actually looking at some of the newer like APIs here that we just actually released that I'm not even probably like that experienced with. And we're kind of also just messing around. That feels that way. But I mean, yeah, like so a few companies that are using it. Okay, BMW, Disney, Ticketmaster, Airbnb. A bunch of big like companies that like are top of mind awareness companies. If you look at our, you can actually look at some of the different documentation that we have and see a bunch of the companies that are using it. Yeah. We're actually growing also at like 4x the rate of what pretty much any other, or not any, but 4x the growth rate of what you see at AWS in general. And we've been on that same pace for over 2 years now. We have a ton of, companies using it in production.
Cool. Is there any like what would be the go-to repo that you could recommend to people instead of looking at 10 different examples if they want to see like one big example? Like I get that you change a lot of things and stuff. Like what would be the big do you have any?
They want to see an example app kind of built, or
no? Like not only they. Like I'm asking you the question. Like if I would like to learn this on my own and just see a big app, how is it modeled, how does it work, and so on. Do you have any repo, or do I have to piece a bunch of examples together?
You can go to Amplify community, see a bunch of projects and posts and stuff from the community. There's AWS samples, which is a sample repo, and just search for Amplify. And a solutions architect named Heitor Lessa built like a airline booking system that is kind of really sophisticated using Vue and Amplify. He spent like 6 months kind of using that as an example for a bunch of different videos and stuff. And then there's the awesome AWS Amplify GitHub repo, which has a few example projects that are in there from the community and stuff like that. Yeah.
Cool. I'm running the command and it asked me a bunch of questions. While you were talking, I just answered yes to everything. I don't know if that was the right idea, but I think it was.
Yeah, I think that sounds good.
Yeah. And now it's updating resources in the cloud. This may take a few minutes. The only scary thing about this is like, on one hand, I'm a huge fan of like having a solution for everything, so you're not gonna miss on anything. On the other hand, the lock-in is a little bit scary because like when you go down, like if you choose data store, you're also choosing 12 different layers below data store.
Oh yeah, no, there's a big lock-in.
There's a huge lock-in.
Data store. Yeah, there is.
So
there's pretty much a lock-in with any managed service. Also like all of the different services that come along with Amplify could be considered managed services. The authentication layer, the API layer with AppSync. Even if you're using an API with Lambda, you're buying into serverless.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like the trade-off. Just kind of figure out is that going to work for you? Like you talk about actually the more paradigm of serverless in general and try to figure out if that works for you or not.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Actually, with whatever you choose, you're gonna have some sort of lock-in. But it seems here, like starting from like my entire app is wrapped with whatever it was called with Authenticator. So it's not like from authentication to everything you go into this massive lock-in. But on the other hand, it works with mobile, it works with web, it works with whatever. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, with Authenticator also is kind of a,
you can modularize it and use some pieces from it, or
you can, but like, if you're actually building something that's not just basic, you're probably not going to use with Authenticator. You're probably just going to use the auth APIs that we have, like auth that sign in, sign out, and you're probably going to build your own UI for your sign in and sign out, right? Like you're not going to have $1 million company and not think it's worth it to spend 1 day or 2 days like writing your auth UI. I think
Yeah.
the with authenticator is being used in production all over the place. But in my opinion, if it was me, I would just say, hey, it's super simple to actually use our building blocks and build your own auth UI and have 100% control over it. So
yeah, I mean,
yeah,
but
you know?
it's pretty great that you can just plug it in and start with it. That's the cool part. It's,
Exactly, yeah. It's great for getting started and prototyping and even version 1.
I actually made a very shitty version of it, like not of this one, but I call it, I don't know, Kitze Apollo user or something, because I got sick of just, yeah, Apollo React user. It's super opinionated. It doesn't have a README because I'm just using it in my own apps. And it's literally just wrapping, like it doesn't even have an example, so I cannot show you an example. But it works like you wrap your entire app with auth, like this. And then on it, you pass your user query. So you would have to pass a GraphQL query here for fetching your user. And then you would have to pass the register component, and you would pass register component. And then login component, and then a local storage key. And then you would store a key like token. Like these are all the things, like I'm just passing 4 things and now my app has authentication. But it works only with my setup, only the way that I've set up things. I still love it because I think that authentication should be like, it's 2020 for God's sake, and people are still reinventing the way to do login and register. So I actually like this with authenticator
Yeah, I mean,
thing.
that's like the #1 API. If you look at npm downloads and the number of users and our growth, like it's definitely the #1 because it is super simple to kind of get up and running with.
Yeah. Alrighty, cool. So that got deployed. Do I need to? I probably don't need to change anything. Let's just try to refresh this and see if it works this time. Bookmark is assigned a value but never used. No unused vars. Okay, that's weird. It seems like
you imported bookmark and you're using it. So I don't know. And you
no.
data
It's
coming
saying
back.
let's just import. Let's just inspect this network request and see if something is coming. Cognito, GraphQL, sync bookmarks item next token. Okay, so it's just, but in my application, okay, let me delete the database and let's just try this again. Close this. Oh, there they are. I saw the bookmarks. Like if I refresh.
Yeah, the bookmarks were there. I think
they're there.
Oh, they're there now. Okay, got it.
So now
those are coming back from our database.
Yeah. I would have to just add one more thing like days here to event bind. Days is gonna be one more input, and it's gonna be a number, and here we're gonna pass days is gonna be days.value. We're gonna do parse int days.value. We're gonna start with 1 by default. And okay, let's add another bookmark. Kitze.io 3 days, create a bookmark. Okay, it's there. Cool. And let's add one more thing before we actually do. I mean, it's deployed now, right? Like everything should be deployed because we already ran push, amplify push. Right. Okay. So what I want to do is on the list of bookmarks is when I click over a bookmark, let's just not be lazy and just make a bookmark component. Okay. Like that's, if I don't do that, I'm going to feel guilty. Bookmark.js. Let's just add it, bookmark, and it's going to do all of these things. So basically bookmark coming from here is gonna have a key, and then we're just gonna spread all the info on it like this. So in the bookmark I'm gonna get I don't need the ID anymore, but I'm gonna get the name, URL, and days, and I'm gonna replace b dot with nothing. Okay, so let's see if I fix this. It should work. Dot bookmark. Yeah, everything works the same. And somebody has a question. What about the Cognito prices for authentication? Last time I checked, they could get very steep for a production app. What do you think, Nader? Are they steep?
The cost for what?
For the Cognito.
Oh yeah, Cognito is it's a managed service, and it is 50,000. The first 50,000 users are free, and then the pricing after that is kind of listed on the page. I don't really remember exact details there, but
50,000 users are free.
Yeah, you could create 1 million apps, each with 50,000 users, and you would pay $0.
Yeah, so you're not gonna have 50,000 users in the first 5 years of whatever you deploy, okay, unless you're working for some crazy big company. So I think, yeah, a lot of people getting turned off from some pricing from the pricing of their imaginary amount of users that's gonna happen at some point. So
yeah, most people would love to have 50,001 users.
yeah, you would immediately
say you have
pay.
50,001 users, you're paying for one user, which is like literally less than 1 penny probably per year.
Yeah,
something like that.
Yeah, and once you have like 50,000 users paying you for something, you can afford paying for those extra users. Like, come on.
Most of the stuff that we build is for scale. So like we're hoping that you'll get 1 million users, right? And at that point, yeah, you're gonna pay some money for 1 million users. But if you have 1 million users, you have better shit to worry about.
Yeah, exactly. While you were talking, I just added a little bit of advanced material design by putting this line here. So there's that.
That's beautiful.
It's beautiful, right? Now what I want to do is when we click on a bookmark, that's what I was aiming at. I want to make another request just like we have this one. So I'm going to be lazy and copy this one. And in bookmark, we're going to say visit. And I would like to update a certain bookmark. How do we do that?
Okay, cool. So you basically will go to...
let's go to
the docs. But you'll basically create a reference to the original item that you'd like to update, and since it's basically immutable, you're going to basically make a copy and then update that copy.
Oh, okay, but I would also have to do this await query for the bookmark, right?
Right.
Interesting. So data store.query, and I would have to get, first of all, I would have to get the bookmark. And do I pass an ID here as a second thing?
Yeah, you can just pass in the ID.
So, okay, we're going to wait for that, for the ID first. And then I can say await data store.save. And then we're going to do bookmark.copy of, and we're going to pass this one, bookmark. Okay, let's first try to update the title or something for a bookmark. So I'm going to add a button on click on each bookmark. I'm going to do visit, and we're going to do copy of bookmark, and I'm going to change, but I only need to wait. What does it do here? Original, and then update it. Oh, sweet. So I can do that. So I can get updated like a function like this. And now I can say updated.name equals gibberish. Okay, let's see if this will work. But I would also need to refresh. Okay, we're just gonna refresh the page. So when I click on a bookmark like test and I refresh the page, okay, constructor is not a valid model. Okay, I fucked up something. I might be going a little bit too fast. Let's see what is going on here. I'm querying the bookmark. Oh yeah, I'm a dumbass. Like I cannot. Yeah, just wait for it. I would have to get this from models, and I would have to call this bookmark component or something, just so there's a distinction between this and this. Yeah. So now I can click, and when I refresh the page, that should be called gibberish. Cool. So what do we want to do is basically update the date visited to now. Last visited. Oh, it actually has autocomplete. I don't know how. You're probably generating some types from these models, right?
Yeah, there are. And you can look in the models folder and see all that
stuff. Sweet. So I can see last visited. It's going to be new. What did I want to do? Date. New date. And then to ISO string or something. So we're just going to update the last visited. And then it's going to be a bit tricky because in your querying engine, you're probably... wait, where is it? Where were those querying thingies? Here. Probably we would need, but we can do that client side. We can do that client side. I mean, to filter the bookmarks that only need to be visible now, I would either have to filter them here. Here. And in order to filter them here, I would have to have a date type because you're larger than and so on. Like these things don't work with strings. Duh, right? I cannot say give me all the bookmarks that have last visited bigger than whatever date because it's not a date. We made it a string.
Yeah, you're right. Well, I'm not sure how the actual query language works under the hood, if it would work on a string, because it might, who knows? Like, honestly, we're not using like a Java. We're not basically using like just we have it. You know, if you ever worked with DynamoDB, you can actually do stuff like that with DynamoDB. So I'm wondering if it says query. It says supported by DynamoDB. So I'm honestly wondering if that actually
if some things would work. Okay.
Yeah. Let's
anyway,
try
we're not gonna query like we're not gonna filter the bookmarks here. We're just gonna filter them here. So I'm gonna say filtered bookmarks equal bookmarks dot filter, and then here based on something I'm gonna return whether we're gonna display the bookmark or not, and that should be fine like for the demo that we're doing. So what we're gonna do is in bookmark we're just gonna say the last visited. That's cool. What else do you want to do from the AWS side before we implement this filtering logic?
I don't think we need to do anything. I think everything's kind of set up and deployed. Yeah.
So if I want to use this in a React Native app, I just copy most of my setup, right? If we want to make a React Native app,
you can copy everything except for the DOM elements. Everything is going to work.
Everything's going to work. That's sweet.
Yeah. Because the API works across all the platforms, and that's kind of one of the big asks from a lot of our customers.
Including the with authenticator will work?
It will work, yeah. Except you'll import it from React Native instead of React.
Yeah. Oh, that's sweet. That's like an insanely fast way to get up and running with an app. Like the previous stream was a bit messy because we were wasting a lot of time on the setup and shit. But if you remove all the chat and all the questions and stuff, like you can get up and running in, I would say, 15 to 20 minutes. Of course, if you have a person from AWS guiding you, because sometimes you have shit like, do you remember last stream? Like I would never find that here I have the wrong region. We had like Ohio
that
or
shit happens so often too. I wish there was a better way to debug that. Like there should be like a more visible way to know the region that you're in, or we should automatically like, you know, do something to be let people be aware.
I would like to explore my table of things. Like where do I have it? Like we have a data store in DynamoDB and we have bookmark.
Okay, that's
two different things.
Right. So basically with data store, every time you make a creation or an update, we save the items in a change table, which is basically a journal to keep up with all of everything that's ever happened. And then there's a time to live set there, so it automatically will be deleted. And the reason we do that is to kind of perform that conflict resolution. And also there's something that's also built in that we haven't talked about. It's called Delta Sync. So let's say that you go offline and someone else makes a bunch of changes and you come back online.
Yeah.
Instead of us actually querying for the entire table, what we basically do is we send a GraphQL query with a last synced argument. Yeah. And all we do is pull down the changes from this change table. And therefore you're not getting a fuckload of data. And this again, these are problems that people have at scale. Like you might not have run into this if you're building your to-do app, but if you have like an app with like tens of thousands or thousands of rows of data, or if you have a bunch of users, you want to reduce the amount of network requests and the network traffic, right? So you want to have the payloads as small as possible, and that's basically what it does.
Yeah, that's fucking cool. I still like, in order to get the real-time aspect of things, you would still have to re-render the components yourself. Can't we
you
just
have to implement the observe, like data store.observe, you pass in the model, and then you're kind of ready to go.
Oh, so you already have that. I'm interested in that. Let's see, where is that thing, data store.observe? Where do I find that?
It should be in that same manipulating data. So you can go down to observe data at the very bottom.
I would make that a separate document here to be like, if you ask me.
That's a good idea.
If you want me to be your AWS documentation consultant, me, the person who doesn't even write readmes for their repos, yeah, definitely listen to me.
No, this is good. This is, you know, honestly, when I was just looking at these docs, we migrated over to this new docs site. We made some updates, but I've already found about 2 or 3 things that are glaring that I want to change, and that's one of them.
All right.
Yeah.
So you can subscribe to changes on your models. This reacts dynamically to updates of data to the underlying storage engine, which could be the result of GraphQL subscription as well. Okay, wait a second. So if we change all of this logic into a subscription, what will the subscription then get me? I mean, observing changes of a single item by ID. If let me just set up an effect and just observe the bookmarks.
Typically, what we see being done is the subscription is created, or the observer is created.
Yeah.
And then anytime there's an update at all, the entire UI refreshes, because we don't care like what thing was changed. We just want to go ahead and re-render anytime a new piece of data is available.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Like you would just basically, I guess, call fetch bookmarks. But yeah, let's console.log the data.
Okay. Yeah. I see.
See what I'm saying? You're just saying, okay, something changed. We want that change to be re-rendered.
Yeah, so I can remove this refresh from here that I had. And I don't need this at all. And basically this watcher.com, create a bookmark. Yeah, there you go. It happened. So I would, if I would want the real time, okay.
The real time is already there now. You should be able to open up a new browser window and it should work.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I'm gonna open it here. Like, you don't see that on screen. I have... Wait, what? Why is this not styled? Wait, just give me a second. Amazon, whatever. Okay. So I have it open on this side. Let me try something.com. God damn it. Wait. Nope, I don't see it. I don't see it in this other window until I refresh.
Let's see here. Fetch bookmarks. Did you see the subscription data console.log?
Give me a second. Let me take this window from last. You mean the log for the message, or?
Right.
Message is update, and message is insert and update and so on.
No, I'm saying in the other window. Did you see the anything come through in the log?
Oh yeah, there is a message. No, okay, but so I refreshed the page. Wait, let me try again. Try again.com. Creating a bookmark. I get it here. Nope, there's no message on the right side. So
okay, did it log out on the right side?
Log out?
Did like you have a console.log for messages?
Nope, nothing.
Okay.
Nothing happened there. I don't have any new network requests. Let me just watch the network tab. Network.com, create bookmark. Nope, nothing on the right side. So it's like this doesn't do shit on the right side. I don't know why. But if I refresh the page on the right side, it takes a second and then it refetches everything, and then I have all the new bookmarks.
Right. Yeah, there's something that we missed. Basically, let me think what we no, that should work. I'm just trying to think what we could have possibly missed here.
Let's see in the docs, maybe. Somebody asked if you want to change the type of last update to a date type. How do you do that? I think you can figure that out somewhere in the docs. I don't know.
You would update your schema and then just run a push.
Yeah. Manipulating, syncing data to cloud. Let's see. Once you're happy with your application, you can start syncing with amplify, push, configure. Okay, we already have that. Relational models. Yeah. Conflict resolution setup. Oh, we never went to this. Amplify update API. Oh, never mind. That's something else.
I think we did that when we first set it up.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at your app again. Let me just think if we missed something.
You mean so it works real time? Let's see.
I mean, because if it's working on this side, we don't actually have the update, like, being you're not refetching when you save, right? Like on the right side in your code, you're just relying on the observe right now, right?
I'm only relying on the observe. So when the form is created, we're just doing that. Yeah, everything is saved. Everything is saved.
I guess it has to be.
Yeah.
Because it's still working on the right side.
Let me just remove this for any case, but I don't think so. I don't think that's the problem because there's nothing in the network. Trying.com. Create a bookmark. Happens here, doesn't happen here. That's weird. That's weird. Fetch bookmarks. Wait, let me just look at that data.observe again. Scheme. Wait, where was that actually? Oh, it's in. No, it's in manipulating data at the end. So it says we can observe bookmarks and then subscribe to messages, and that's it. But then I'm not doing anything with the subscription. Should I? No, I should not, right? Is asynchronous. However, you should not use await like the other API, since it's a long-running task, and you should make it non-blocking. Code after call, not wait for its execution to finish. Yeah, I have it in use effect. So
you have it set up right, from what I can tell. I mean, you're passing a bookmark into that's not an array, right? Syntax there, I can't really see that well.
What do you mean? It's what is not an array? No, it's not an array. No, it's just
okay,
bookmark.
yeah.
It's not an array. Then we have the message, so that should be fine. Bookmark is coming from the models, so that should be fine.
Can you try in an incognito window? I'm wondering if there's any reason that, since it's like...
I'm gonna try it right here. I'm gonna open one more window, localhost 3000, and just put it here. Okay. I don't know what happened to the AWS styling. I'm not gonna debug that now. Sign in.
Oh shit. Yeah.
There's a list of bookmarks, and let's try something. Some url.com. Just gonna submit this. I get it here. I don't get it in my other Chrome window that's open on the right side. So again, some URL. Nope, not even a message, nothing.
But anyway, when you refresh, it does come through, right?
When I refresh it, yeah, if I refresh...
Yeah, I guess let's look at the network tab to see and
you mean the network? Yeah, okay, let's just look at the network tab here, and we're gonna create here. So I'm gonna create stuff here, and something is happening here, but the network tab doesn't react here at all.
Right.
Unless you refresh the page, and then you're gonna get whatever you created. Let me just zoom this out a little bit. It's way too zoomed in.
Yeah.
YOLO.com. Let me just clear this console. Here we're gonna see something, but here nothing's going on in the network, nothing's going on in the console. That's weird. These are from previous ones. It's not from the last one. And if I try to update something, let me update this one. Hopefully it's gonna... Oh no, it doesn't sync the entire store. So unless I refresh the page, it's not gonna sync the entire store. Yeah, only after page refresh. Can you just see open sockets? How the fuck?
Yeah, there's something going on with the subscription. I'm not sure exactly what's going on there.
Can we just skip that? Because we have like around 15 minutes left, and we can skip that part.
Yeah.
And just try to do something else, I guess.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool.
What did we have here? Create bookmark model, create bookmark form. We did 2 of these things. Last thing, okay, we can leave that for... I can maybe do it off stream or whatever. Just actually filter the bookmarks and only show the ones that needs to be shown right now. Otherwise it should say like, hey, you're done for the day, you don't need to open this app. But regarding the code side of Amplify, let me see if I can come up, or maybe someone in the chat can come up with some question, because probably I have a lot of questions that I cannot think of right now. Try to remove the use effect. Maybe that would be stupid. Like if you put this outside of use effect, it's just gonna go in the render. That's not... Nope. Seems like when you create it, it doesn't save it in the remote DB, only local. And then when you refresh it, it syncs the local with the remote. What Lucas is saying might make sense. So Nader, do you have an idea? When I do data store.save, do I need to do something special in order for this to go to the...
No. It should automatically. I mean, can you open your database and see the items there? After
creating one or what? Or you mean...
Just at any time. I mean, we should have a bunch of stuff in there at this point, right?
You mean in here? Yeah. We have a bunch of bookmarks.
Yeah, so everything is there.
Yeah, if I do, let's try it. new1.com and just create it. It appears here. If I go here, items, we should find new1.com. There it is, new1.com.
Yeah, it's definitely something with the way we set up the subscription or
somebody says, do you see a
there's
WebSocket connection on page reload? To be honest with you, I have no idea how to see WebSocket connection in Google Chrome. Is there a way, like how the fuck do you do that?
Yeah, I don't know either, actually. This will be interesting.
No idea. Background services, background push messages. No idea.
Maybe someone in the chat can help us out.
Yeah, in network. Oh, VS in network tab. I knew that, okay?
I mean, I'm in network. I don't see anything. Oh, it's probably just in the actual
No, it should
network.
be WebSockets like this. So when I refresh the page, when I refresh the page, I'm getting this WebSocket. And it says time pending. So I guess this one is it from AWS AppSync. So it should be running fine. Both here and in the other browser. When I refresh the other Chrome browser, it should be there. I don't know if we can see activity here. Like there's some activity going on. Let me just clear the activity on the right side and clear it here. And just add something 999, something 999. Create. It seems like activity is happening here, but activity didn't happen in the other one. So, I mean, now I cleared it, so I cannot even see it at all. Anyway. You have to click to see the messages and then see the responses. You mean click here and then see messages. Okay, let's try new message. New message, run. Well, it seems like nothing is getting sent here unless I should see a new message, right? There's nothing sent here. See? No activity, no bueno.
Right. Yeah. I'm not sure, honestly, at this point. Either that's some type of bug, which I doubt. I think it has to be something that we've done, but it could be a bug. I mean, I have no idea at this point. Yeah,
Lucas says yes, it should show there. So basically it's not sending out the one that we're creating. That's why the other one is not receiving it. Probably the other one is working fine. Okay, I have more questions. Because it seems like we're not gonna set up a third stream anytime soon. If we ever do it, it's gonna be, I don't know, in June or something. And I want to have my questions out of the way. Because I'm evaluating right now, like I have different types of apps that have different types of requirements. And this, what we set up right now, it seems like the perfect setup that I need for one of my apps, but not for every app. So I want to know the trade-offs. Like if you want to have a custom, like probably all of your answers are going to be like whatever custom thing you want to have, it should be a Lambda serverless function, right? So do you see somewhere, because I'm still a fan of like having a server for making a GraphQL. I'm not a fan of resolving everything with a Lambda function, and even that's not the case with this, right? Because we have the velocity or whatever it's called. What are the resolver language thingy called? What is it called?
Yeah. So right now, all of the GraphQL resolvers are written in VTL, which is velocity tippling language, which really kind of sucks. And what we're basically building right now is a alternative that's going to be JavaScript or JavaScript syntax of resolvers, because right now you need custom business logic, right? Everyone needs custom business logic. There's no way we can we can't just assume. And if you're building anything more complex than a to-do app or something really basic,
what do people do in that case?
Well, right now people are there's three things that people are doing. First of all, they're either writing VTL, which some people like, well, if you spend a few days, you'll learn it and it's not that big a deal, but it is a few days investment, honestly, to kind of understand everything going on. The second alternative is to have a Lambda resolver for your request. So you send a GraphQL query or mutation. That mutation just sends the payload to a Lambda function. And in that Lambda function, you perform whatever custom business logic you need. And then that business logic, gets returned in the GraphQL query or even in the mutation, right? You'll still get that data back like you would in the regular mutation. And then the third option is people are kind of also having a separate REST API for if there's certain things that they feel like they don't want to write all this custom business logic and stuff. So I mean, like you don't. I mean, I'm a big fan of buying all into GraphQL and having my GraphQL API as an API gateway,
Yeah.
and then I do anything like really crazy in Lambda. But some people don't like that, so they're using Lambda directly. But yeah, that's kind of the if you're using this stack, that's the thing that you would do. Of course, you don't have to use this. I mean, let's talk about some other options. You have Hasura, you have Prisma, right? You have what else is out there? You know, there's one more
exactly.
that's new,
there
that's
are like
pretty good.
two things that are popular, and then there's AWS. And seems like people, including me, are failing like to figure out what would be the best solution for them. That's why I started setting up all of these streams, so everyone can evaluate what are the pros and cons of everything.
Right. I mean, okay, so like what we looked at right now, this is bleeding edge. This is cutting edge.
Yeah.
Like of our services. This was just released, and we actually still have a lot of work to do to get it to where we'd like it to be. It does a lot of stuff, but it doesn't do certain things that you might need. But the cool thing about what we just did is actually just using our existing GraphQL service under the hood that's been around now for about 3 years.
Yeah.
That is literally being used in production. Has been for like over 3 years by companies like Ticketmaster that have scale from 0 to millions of requests within a second. And we're handling like that type of those types of customers. So it's kind of like a badass service. But when we're starting to work with some of these more, like newer like abstractions that we're trying to kind of build on top of it, like you can either buy into just the GraphQL API, you can also buy into Data Store, or you can buy into both because you're still able to send those raw GraphQL requests.
Yeah, that would be interesting to find like the sweet spot between like when would you go with GraphQL requests, when you would you see like would you see people deploying hybrid apps, like a hybrid, I mean half of the app is using Data Store or half of the app is using vanilla GraphQL, or you have to go all in and be like this app is only going to use Data Store for everything?
No, I think you can do both for sure, actually, and like depending on how complex your app is, I would probably recommend that. Have you tried 8base, by the way?
What?
8base. Have you heard of 8base?
8base, nope.
8base is basically like another alternative to
how is it spelled? Like, is it the number 8 and 8base like this?
Yes.
Oh, GraphQL backend for professional grade apps. Let me see 8base.
Yeah, this is pretty sweet. You might want to do a stream on this one day to maybe you can reach out to the people that run it, because it's also in that same. I haven't used it, but I hear it's pretty good. I don't really know how flexible it is or anything like that, but it's definitely in that same. Like if you're investigating these technologies, then 8base is one of the ones I would look at maybe.
Never heard of this. It would be so funny if in the middle of the stream I'm like, wow, this is so much better than AWS Amplify. So thank you for your time. Now fuck off.
Yeah, hey, I mean, I'm all for people using the best tool for the job, right?
I respect that.
That's kind of the cool thing is like if someone's working, if we're working on some shit, and I see something that I think is better, like if you need something like what Cloudinary or Algolia offers, I'm not going to tell you to build it on AWS from scratch when it's already there and it works so much better. We have competing things, but they're not as good. So don't use their shit. It's better. Therefore, I can also find improvements for the stuff on my team, and I can pass that feedback, and we want to be as good as or better than everything else that's out there. But I can also sit there and say, like, there are things that I think that we do better, but there are things that I don't think we do better. And I can kind of, in my opinion, give you that honest feedback.
Yeah, fair enough. I have respect for companies and people who can actually do that instead of just shoving their product in your face.
Yeah, I agree. I'm the same way. And I hate when people don't do that, because then you can't trust anything that they say, in my opinion.
Yeah. Like, I don't know why would someone especially like promote their own product on stream. Who would actually talk about their own product? Like, who would talk about the browser, Sizzy, that all of you No, like, there are a lot of use cases where I'm actually not recommending Sizzy for people. Like, if someone has a MacBook Air from 2007 and they email us, hey man, like, this is eating a lot of CPU. And I'm like, dude, just use regular browser, because you cannot run 20 devices at once. It's not going to work out for you. So it's good for you to know the product limitations and actually say, hey, this might might work out for you particularly.
Yeah, totally.
Appreciate the honesty. I see that sell toilet paper products and you make a promotion. Yeah.
So pricing, someone asked about the pricing. You can check out the pricing page. It's free. There's a free tier for the first year if you're new to AWS. After that, the pricing is kind of laid out pretty well. We actually have an example app where there's like 50,000 users. Each user like does this, that every day. It's like anywhere from like $20 to $50 a month for that many users based on that usage. But yeah, you can kind of get the details there.
Yeah. As you can see, for the first time ever, I put the banner here with all the info. So if you want to follow Dabit, you can do it and Dabit3. But I know you motherfuckers are lazy. I'm going to put the link in the chat if you want to follow him. If you want to follow me, you're not going to see anything for now. I don't know when I'm coming back, but you can follow me at the Kitze. And if you have any final questions, maybe Nader, maybe something that you want to add, plug, whatever you want me to put in the chat, or you can put it yourself in the chat. Whatever, however you want to end this thing. Like, I have no idea how to end it. You can check out CZ at CZ.co. That's like, yeah. Make sure to subscribe on Twitch because we're doing this chat. Tomorrow I have a chat with David Piano, whatever his name is. He's going to teach me state machines for the first time. That's going to be the funniest stream ever because I don't like state machines at all. So anyway, just make sure to subscribe. Nader, you can end this however you want, whatever you want to see.
Yeah, so I guess one thing I'll plug is like Jared Palmer, he's in the community. He does all kinds of crazy cool shit.
Yeah.
I saw someone mention on Twitter, like they follow Jared on GitHub and just see the things that he's liking and things that he's like commenting and starring on. I recommend doing that for Jared, but also doing that for other people. Like if you want to be really on top of like really cool shit that's happening, you can kind of just follow some of these people on GitHub and see their activity and just kind of like be getting a front row seat to some cool ass shit that's happening. So that's a
freaking I should start doing that more instead of just relying on Twitter to get all of my web dev information. I follow people on GitHub. I never check their activity. So that's a great point. All right.
Wait, one more thing.
Yeah.
So 2 books that I'm like really pumped about.
All right.
One of them is Flash Boys. I'm reading it for the second time.
Flash
It's about
Boys.
these guys. Yeah. They actually it's about the industry of like high frequency trading, but like one of the main characters, it's true story, is from Mississippi, and I've actually done some consulting for his son, and he built a fiber optic network between New York and Chicago without telling anybody in order to shave 3 milliseconds off of a trade time to get to basically be able to make billions of dollars. It's crazy story. It's really cool. And then my other
Michael Lewis, Flash Boys, a Wall Street Revolt. Is it that one? I don't want to link to the wrong thing. Okay, so I put that in the chat. Flash Boys, a Wall Street Revolt. All right.
And then the other is the autobiography of Malcolm X. I just finished that, and it's way different than I would have expected. And it's like probably one of the best books I've read in the last couple of years.
I want to read that.
And yeah, it's like put away your perceptions of like what you think the book might be and just read it. It's good.
I was actually sleeping on a book for the longest time, the memoir of Phil Knight, the guy from Nike that created Nike.
Oh, that's such a good book.
And like for the longest time, I was like, it's a memoir, it's gonna be boring, whatever. I just started it as an audiobook. I got so hooked. It's the best story ever. So I should read this Malcolm X. Good. Yeah. All right, dude. Thank you very much for your recommendations. Make sure you follow Nader at Dabit3 on Twitter.
Hey. Thanks for having me, dude. I'm gonna start doing some streams. I'm getting a new computer, and it's gonna be able to handle this shit. I would love for you to come on and talk about,
of course,
Twizzy.
Yeah.
Because I don't know a lot about it. So or Sizzy, I'm sorry.
Yeah. I have Sizzy and I had Twizzy. So like whatever Izzy you say, I have an app for that. All right. Cool. Thank you very much, everyone, for watching. I will see you tomorrow at the same time with another stream. So see you tomorrow. Bye bye.